Just wanted to make a quick commentary on the latest release from the Faculty of Pain Medicine in Australia and New Zealand and their comments against the use of using cannabinoids for non-cancer chronic pain. So a friend of mine, Reese Cohen, did an excellent commentary. So shout out to Reese, and please check that out because I thought it was fantastic. And then I'm just hopefully going to kind of build and give you my thoughts on this issue as well. And I guess number one is the fact that position papers like these come out from time to time. And there was a few in 2018, one here in Canada from that time, that basically said the same thing. The fact that just the evidence that's out there with respect to cannabinoid medicine doesn't really hold up to our traditional statistical meta-analyses. That's nothing new. That's not a shocking thing to see from this pain society. But the reality is that's not the only way to prove efficacy. We have lots of good evidence that medical cannabis works. But again, we just don't have those large randomized placebo-controlled trials because you can't patent this molecule. So you don't see those big studies. What you do see when you dive deeper and you take the time to review the entirety of the evidence is, in fact, there is a number of studies, case studies, observational studies, small randomized control trials showing benefits for cannabinoid medicine with respect to chronic pain. So much so that, again, in Australia, the TGA has a moderate recommendation. There's a number of physicians using it for pain in that country. The National Academies of Sciences and Engineering in the US, a robust review, over 10,000 articles reviewed, came to the conclusions that support using it in chronic pain. And it's that idea of having kind of a common sense narrative. You know, you hear the patient reports, you see the evidence in the literature, and you have to put it all together. And then certainly seeing over 10,000 patients for this issue, there's no doubt in my mind that cannabinoids can improve chronic pain. Does it improve pain in every patient? Nope. And that's what the TGA says in their guidance. About 30 to 50% of patients might see some improvement, and that's realistic in what I see as well. So it's the idea, and Reese pointed this out, and it's a great comment, and something that Nassim Taleb says all the time as well, that absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. So just because there isn't some large RCT doesn't mean cannabis can't help in pain. And it's very similar playbook for these opposers of cannabinoid medicine that actually big tobacco used before we knew the harms of smoking. So they would say, hey, there's no evidence that smoking causes cancer, right? So there's no evidence, there's no trials that prove that, when in fact that was happening. So just because there isn't a large trial doesn't mean there isn't proof that this exists. So kind of wanted to make that comparison. I know it's kind of shocking, but it is that similar playbook. The other thing I wanted to touch on was just the hypocrisy within that same article. Reese touched on it as well, but again, when you have this so-called lack of evidence, but then it's always interesting to the critics of cannabinoid medicine because then they'll quote other poorly designed studies to prove their point, sometimes on the harms of cannabis, and in this case, quoting a roughly 300-person survey study, an observational survey study where they didn't talk about dose of cannabis, method of consumption, just a survey showing no reduction in opiates. And one survey study to form this conclusion for this paper and this author that there does not appear to be an opiate sparing effect, when in fact, again, in practice, that's not true. And there is a few different studies to support that hypothesis. As always in cannabinoid medicine, we need more research. But I just wanted to point out that hypocrisy of kind of the negatives. Those poorly designed studies are often quoted when on the positive side, it's not enough evidence. So that's just my take. Wanted to weigh in on that. And as always, we'll keep moving forward. And I have no doubt when it does come to chronic pain, cannabinoids can be a reasonable option. And a number of patients that I've seen have benefited from that. So thanks a lot and take care.